All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Run Home podcast. I am your host, Jason Zubaz Havey. Thank you for joining us once again. I finally got a name to the podcast and I got a good get today. My guest is Makila. He is an OG, a part of the bedrock of this game, a cornerstone of the community. Makila, welcome to the Run Home podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'm the Run Home podcast, huh?
Yeah,
that's what we're gonna go with.
That's what we're gonna go with. Now, I told you before that you were gonna hate the name, and I want to take 2 minutes and vigorously defend this name.
Let's go.
So I'm very big about symbolism. When you think about threads of time, there is a lot of meaning behind that. And then the Spinning Logic podcast was a nod to spinning thread, and spinning logic was deductive reasoning, whatever. Doesn't matter. But Run Home podcast, it has more allegories, metaphors, similes, idioms. I don't even know what those mean, but I know they mean this for that type thing. And they have more of those than any two words in the English language I could put together. Now, it starts with the logo of CSFBL. I love the logo as is of CSFBL. I don't want to screw with it. And when you look at it, the plate is, people think it's upside down, but it's really the way it looks as if you were running to home. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. And then I started thinking about the uniqueness of baseball. You started home plate, but you can't just step on it. And it's very much like life. Like, you still got to find your way around the bases before that counts. And even if you hit a home run, even if you get walked in, you see people jog or they run home. There's a reason behind that. And then there's home run, run home. And then also, just like we're doing now, people are working through Zoom. They are running things from home. And last but not least, that first thing is, I think about the plate right side up. That's where you begin. Upside down, that's the goal. And that's like the goal in life and everything. So and now I got like 40 other things that I'll probably put into a separate short video just to vigorously defend this. But now that you've heard some of my reasoning, tell me if you still hate it.
Hate it? No. Don't hate it. Don't hate it. What I want to know immediately is, so what you're telling me is, over the course of the podcast, if I watch all of them, you're going to tell me how to run home. So you have all the answers to life, is what I just basically heard you say.
No. We're all in this together. We're all trying to get around. We're all trying to get around the bases. And then also, when the lights go out in the neighborhood, what do? You run home after you're done playing stickball.
I think you just dated us, man.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I don't think we do the stickball till out in the street till the lights go off anymore. It's like, hey, text the kid and tell him to come home.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways,
damn kids.
So
I like it. No, you sold me. You convinced me. It was a little weird, but you got it, I guess.
Because people wanted to
make sense.
I think most people would be like, why isn't it running home? Like, why isn't it a present participle? Or is that a gerund? Present participle. Yeah. But run home just it's right. It's going to grow on people like mold or COVID. It'll eventually get all of us.
Well, here you go. It makes sense to me in some regard. I think for many of us, CSFBL is a second home, at least. It provided a outlet for a lot of us over the years, yourself, myself, and many others included. So I now that I'll get into my feelings a little bit, we'll just say, okay, it has some meaning as a secondary home. So I have no problems with that.
Okay. See, now you're helping me sell it. I like it.
There we go.
Okay. So just so we can set the backgrounds here for a second, I want to point out two things. I'm wearing my Brewers jersey because my Brewers are in the playoffs, and I wanted to wear it early because in case the Braves kick them out of the playoffs. But the Sooners in front of you and the Vikings are playing right now live behind you. So the Sooners last night beat my Longhorns, even though I'm a Badger fan. Like, I've been here 7 years, so
do it right, man.
What goes up must come down. Is that what you're saying? I don't think I'm
Fourth,
allowed to
yeah.
do that. I better stop. Yeah. Okay. All right.
No,
But
no, that was quite a game yesterday. I just felt like it needed to be pointed out that someone's in Austin and it's not me.
there was a lot of crazy college football, but we
Yeah.
shouldn't sidetrack
I
too
say,
much. But
we'll talk for an hour or two on that if we go there.
yeah, we'll just leave it at this. There we go.
Oh, that's so hideous.
Oh, it's beautiful,
Oh,
isn't it?
it's painful. I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
All right, I'll take it off. I'll take it off to get through the podcast. But I do appreciate you hopping on the podcast while the Vikings are playing. You know, you and I we've been tight for a long time. Like we played CSFBL for a long time, but we've been like real life friends for a long time too. And I thought it would be good just because, well, two things. First, I want to start with a thank you on behalf of everyone that plays this game for sticking it out for so long. Like, and in TCL, in CSFBL, in total, like you were always like the constant, and you definitely deserve some public thanks for that. So I want to do that. But then also, I was hoping you could go into just give us a quick 5 minutes on your CSFBL journey. Like, how'd you get here, and why have you stuck around so long?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, I do. I have tried to, as I've became more knowledgeable about the game and interacted more with the community over the years, I've tried to help. And one of the ways I can try to help, I think, was just with my abilities, you know, to be a presence and be consistent, and at least, you know, help people no matter who they are, what walk of life, and how they found our game. If I can help them in some way with the game, I tried to do it. So I appreciate that. But the way, you know, I found CSFBL through, it was actually, so I found it in the early 2000s. I took my first team in 2003. I found it through another game.
Earlier than me.
Yeah. So it was before my daughter was born, which to me was, okay, it's kind of a, you know, as time goes on, that's a very definite demarcation. So she was born in 2004 and it was before that. So
it was a different life ago.
It was a different life ago. Exactly. So yeah. But no, so I found it through a game, and there's a reason it actually plays into the history of one of the league names in CSFBL. So there's a league that's been around forever that's called Earth Baseball. It used to be one of the premier leagues. It's still classified as one of the premier leagues, but as we know, that doesn't necessarily mean anything at this point. But so that came from a game that was online in the late 90s called Earth 2025. It was a text-based, turn-based game. And it was on a site that went through numerous different names, but it was a site that ended as swerve.com. The guy that originally developed it all actually is from Austin. He's from UT, actually. He eventually sold the game. But anyways, on the forums one day, a guy pops on the forums and says, "Hey, I found this baseball site. I started a league. It seems like it's really fun." I had been into fantasy sports at that point for a few years in the late 90s into the early 2000s, had got into both heavily into baseball and football fantasy. I'd always been a baseball fan, football fan, specifically the two sports growing up. So naturally, I like the sport. I'm into fantasy at this point. I liked cards and stats as a kid a lot, so gave it a chance. Well, the league they had started was Earth Baseball. So I took a team in that league in October 2003, I think is when I took the team, and I've owned it to this day since then. That's actually probably my proudest CSFBL achievement. It's not winning World Series in certain leagues, although, you know, as you know, there's certain leagues that you are proud that you won in those. But I think probably my accomplishment in CSFBL is, and it's nothing but time, I guess, is that I've owned a team since late 2003, and it's never had a day where I wasn't the owner of it. There's no ownership gap. I've had it the whole time. There's other teams that I gave up, came back and took years later, but I've had that one. So I found the game then, and you know, this maybe dates it a little bit. This is back when, to get a trade executed, we had to post it on the forums. There was no in-game trade mechanism. We would post the trade on the forums, and one of the administrators at the time would execute the trade for us. These are back on the old forums before it was the ones we use today. Our league, MLB Classic, I think at the time, possibly Remake at the time, we're all using off-site forums. And I do remember part of the deal when we became a premier league was that we had to move all of our communication onto the forums on the site to move the traffic over there. But the front page for our old forums are still online to this day. But of course, the forums are down. But that's how I came to the game, and I've been here ever since. It provided an outlet for me. I've been through a lot of different things in life, and I've met people through CSFBL, such as yourself and Clone and others, and Jar and our group, obviously, that kind of came out of TCL, where these are genuine friends. There's a ton of people I didn't just name because I'm not going to go down the whole list, but it's no offense to anybody, but we've spent time together in life and communicated about deeper things beyond a game, and have formed bonds that run deeper than just this game at this point. But it's all because of this game. If this game didn't exist, none of us ever connect. We never meet. Maybe it happens another way in a weird scenario, but CSFBL is the reason why. So it does hold a special place for me, and it probably always will due to that. And so I've tried to give back as much as I can to the community and helping in every way possible.
It's funny how many people it feels like there's as many people that have been around for 17 years as there has been that has been around for 5 years, right? And I think it's partially because there was improvements happening to the game. It was advancing, and we really got locked in as a community at that point. Then it went through this big lull where the game was stagnant, and I think you could start to tell that it was an older game and it wasn't hooking as many people as it was before. But I'm still convinced, this is one of the reasons that I got involved, is because I'm still convinced that magic that was happening in 17, 18, 16, 15 even years ago, up until probably 2008 or 9, it's still there. We just have to give it the facelift, add the features that are just like the features that are forcing people to work around the game. And if we can just get there as a minimal viable product, that it is like the table stakes, we'll start to gain the flywheel that is that community again. And then as we add on all this visionary stuff I have in my head, and that Brian's thinking about, and that Russ is thinking about, then it's really going to start to speed up, I think. Do you feel like that's going to happen as well?
Yeah, I do. It's, what's one of the biggest selling points here is it creates, for some reason, and I'm not going to act like I'm an expert on this. There are other people. We have someone such as Smithias who understands the marketing side and the appeal of how to gain users and what loses users and what not to do as well. Because there are things you shouldn't do. I mean, I get that. I know there are discussions that occur on our forums right now to this day where it's like, well, don't do this. This is going to cause people to run off. There are things you don't want to do. I absolutely get it. And I'll be the first to admit as well, I'm not the expert on it. But what's weird to me is that there is something to this community aspect here. Now, the game did become stale. There is no question. It's not meant as criticism to anybody. But there's a period where everyone has a real life beyond the game, and has to make money, has to support themselves. I understand it completely, but things got stale. We hit a period that I think your years are accurate. I mean, give or take a little bit of time, because it's been some years, but it got bad. It got better. We seem to have some, the people have their opinions on the webpage rewrite, whatever their opinions, whether they liked it or not, but it added some refreshness that was desperately needed to the website. And there were advancements that were made specifically when we had a real lot of development happening with Vashon and Smithias, and Avidmar was helping, and Reds was involved at the time. There were a lot of advancements that were made during that time. And one of the things that I really think was smart was a lot of the league options we have right now, even though we don't have a ton, but the ones that we have right now from a league standpoint of being able to, have the cap change, to have those types of options, that came about during that time. And I saw excitement over that. I saw influx of users around the same time. And a lot of that was, I think, due to Smithias's marketing as well. But there was definitely a refreshness to the game that occurred. There were new users that came into it. But it was good. And so I do really think that we can improve, okay, you've got this basic game. We all like it. we are all here for that, but allow leagues to have their own flavor. Add in the options for them to do what they want to do. One of the discussions that's gone over for years is, why is it always 24 teams? Why does it have to be 24 teams? Is it set up in our database and the rest of the sim engine that I will not act to be an expert on or know anything about, but can we do it? My understanding is there is some possibilities.
We can.
And that I know, and I don't want to share, information that maybe isn't supposed to be, but to my understanding, that's possible. And that's really cool to me. Let's untap that potential. Why not allow?
Just to jump in there, because it doesn't sound like I overpromised. It is absolutely possible. It does obviously require some work on the back end because it can break some things, but it is doable enough that it will be worked on for sure.
And that's just those little, like I said, those ideas have been kicked around a long time. I know that specific one is possible. It does require work. I'm not saying it's just a switch that gets flipped. I understand that. But as you allow leagues to get to do what they want, become not the same, that helps with the staleness as well. Those of us that have been 10 years, 15, 20 years. There are guys who have been here 20 years, because I recognize the screen names from when I started, and they were old guys when I started. So there's still some here. But that makes the game fresh again for them. I think new users, when they come in, the game is fresh because it's new to them. But as you're here some time, you need something beyond that basic game. There's different ways to play it. Matthias pointed out something in his podcast that is absolutely true. I agree with. You don't have to win through range only run prevention. There are other ways to win in CSFBL. Mm-hmm. Is that probably the optimum way to win right now? Yeah, it is. Now, the thing is, when everyone in your league is trying to do it, though, it all of a sudden becomes expensive. There's the assets are few and far between when all 24 owners are looking for the 95 range shortstop. There's still going to be a few of them. They're just worth a lot more in those leagues. It's easier to do that in the league where, frankly, you have half the owners paying attention. But so what do you do in those leagues to keep those owners interested? There's other ways to play the game. There are ways to succeed still doing other things, because their salary might be easier to deal with. The assets you have to give up to acquire one of those types of players, someone, for example, if a shortstop is a 60 range, but has, 90 slugging, you can do, that can work. You can work with that just fine. Do you have to change the ways you build your staff a little bit, size of your part, maybe the field you're playing on? Absolutely. But you can still win World Series in CSFBL doing the non-defense run prevention ground ball build. But let's allow leagues to do as much as they can. It shouldn't be reliant on the person having to tweak those small things.
The more flexible, the better.
Exactly. The more flexibility for the leagues, the better. So I think it helps immensely with a lot of things. And I do think that's a good way. Personally, I think that's the way you approach making this where the game loses the staleness.
I think I've talked about it on every podcast. I said it in the announcement too, but it really came down to three things for me. The three cohorts or KPIs or whatever you want to say were increase in league flexibility, increase in data and stats, and increase in community. And if we are just measuring those three, the rest should work itself out. But some of those things are easier than others, and some of them go hand in hand. And I'm very excited about that, because I think the big thing with the community is earning everybody's trust, and I think this is shaking things up enough that it gives us some runway to get some trust. But every single month there needs to be us pushing out a set of updates that are getting us closer to that big, bold, lofty goal. As soon as we miss a month, people are going to raise their eyebrows. So that can't happen. Like people need to see constant improvement.
No, I agree completely with you. Having been being a skeptic by nature, I get it. I understand someone rolling their eyes and saying, "Here we go again. I've heard the song and dance. Nothing's changed. Why would I believe it this time?" I understand it. And there's no other way to change that person's mind or other than prove it. Show me. At this point, show me you're going to do something about it.
As
So,
Joke likes to say, words are wind, right?
and 100%. I mean, ultimately, and in this case, it's very true, especially for the guys that have been around a long time.
Yeah.
Let's put your money where your mouth is. Let's see some change. Let's see the improvements. It's been talked. I think it was when you talked to Brian, but there's a draft tool on the way that is going to be, in my opinion, I think it's going to be very significant in the people that run drafts get abused right now in CSFBL.
So bad.
The game utilizes them to run the game. Why should they have to be part of the function of the game?
We've lost some of our best owners because of having to run drafts, burning them out.
It turns into work. When you have to log in and it's a work filling, why would you do that? That's not a game anymore. We all already have to work. We have to do it. The point is to be the escape. So that's a huge thing that's coming down the pipe. That I think is a big thing. That's significant. There's other house cleaning things that have to be done. There's the maintenance, the grunt work, the non-glamorous, I get it, stuff that has to be done, and people have to, so anyways, as we get things, the little things cleaned up, we get the little fixes cleaned up, then we can start talking bigger ideas, and that's where someone like yourself, you, Matthias, others that have been in the bigger idea role, that's where I suck personally. I'll say, I'll be the first to admit, I'm very much like, okay, what do I need to do? How do we do this? And let's do it to the best of our ability. But what's the end game? What's the big picture? And we got to have people in those right roles. And I think we do now. I think that's key, that we have some of the roadmap of what do we want at the end.
Well, speaking of roles, one of the questions I had for you, and this was going to be a question I'd ask you privately too, but I'll just ask it here. But let's make the bold assumption that Brian and I and Russ will make sure that the game is seeing updates every month. So let's just make that assumption. For you as the community manager, what is the thing that would best help you do your part of this, of building, satisfying, interacting with the community?
It is in my opinion, the channel of communication from the experience that our users, our owners of our teams, the users of the website, the people that actually play the game regularly. For some years now have had a little bit of disconnect, and I'll admit it, with my personal experience with it, because my time on the game has been focused on more of an administration side in the leagues I'm in and in the game I'm in. It is what it is. So, but I think, so I'm aware that I want to hear from the people that are playing the game. What ideas do you have?
Yeah.
What complaints do you have? I want that communication to be able to come freely to us. I want that then to be communicated to the people that are doing the actual work. That's one of the key things that we need to do as a team. We need to do through the community. I think centralizing one spot is important. We don't need multiple logins. We don't need multiple websites. I know that there are obstacles that have prevented that. I understand it. It is what it is to where we are right now. But I think one thing is for our community is, let's not be in different places. I'm not saying, and I know there's been some hot button discussion issues on our forums recently about this. I'm not saying we're getting rid of forums. I'm not saying we're getting rid of Discord. I'm not saying we're doing one thing, we're doing the other. What I think is important is to have a central spot. I think the game, our communication all need to live and breathe together. Why shouldn't they? I think that's really important. Now, I know that's a bigger down the road, and I don't mean down the road as in let's forget about it. I realize that there's a lot of things that have to happen before that's even possible. But that's really, to me, if I had my one pie in the sky, big wish, let's just make one big happy place where it all exists, essentially.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but a couple points that I want to make, because I got some questions through PMs in the forums about this. And that's the idea behind Discord and starting to use that from, it wasn't to be the forum killer. What it was, number one, it was just to add
Correct.
flexibility, just like we're doing in game.
Correct.
But the one thing that we acknowledged early on is there is no way we were going to build a fully in-game communication system that was going to be better than $1 billion company can make, right? And when you look at something like Discord, there's so many beautiful integrations that they allow sites like ours to plug into, that integratively Discord makes a lot of sense. Now, as somebody that at one point, I don't know if I still do, at one point had the most posts of any human on the forums ever. I don't want that history to go away either, and I have a lot of love for the forums, but we just need to make that part of an arsenal of tools that we have to communicate with each other.
Oh, I agree. I agree 1,000% with everything you just said. And I have the same feelings as well about it. Not only logically, but like I said, I feel the same way as well. I'm not at the 50,000, but I'm over 30,000. I'm nearing 40,000 posts on there. You and I have personally both extensive history communicating on those forums through very turmoil times in our lives.
Huge chunks of our lives are
it is stupid to other people. I get it. My history is not, I totally get it. It's a selfish thing. It has nothing to do with what other people think or care about. I get it. But there's like chunks of lives of people there. And no, I don't want them wiped out. And for the game we play, there is value to a threaded forum concept. I'm not saying the forums as they are today. I'm just talking about the concept of a thread that exists over time that we can come back to, that has value. We to this day bump threads that were 15 years ago because we're still talking about the same thing. It's just another season. I mean, the Brewers thread has been around over a decade, and it gets bumped when the Brewers are in a playoff series. Does that format work specifically on a Discord platform? No, not really. I have had discussions with users over the years. Some of them, if they watch this, know who they are, because I was 2-3 years ago very negative on using Discord for CSFBL. I'm very resistant to it. I didn't think it made sense. Having used it for other means over the last few years, not related to actually gaming. I've used Discord more personally for computer hardware, music, things like that, than I have actually used it for gaming. Most of my gaming, because of my age, I'll admit, I like to game by myself because that's how games were in the late 90s. Multiplayer didn't exist. That's just what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But I like to be able to unplug. So I use Discord for other things. I've came around to admitting Discord has certain things that are really cool. And the automation that it has is freaking incredible. And the servers I'm in, where they have people that know their shit, I mean, they know what they're doing. It is impressive what they have built. So the potential is incredible. There are still things, though, even in those types of servers where I have been blown away, it won't work for everything we do. And I get that.
That's right.
So we need both. It's not an either or. It doesn't have to be. And another thing I really want to make clear, if anyone watches this, we're talking about platforms that we make them what they are. We're not talking about platforms that have their own content or anything intertwined to it. These sites are forums. They are what we make them.
Yep.
That's it. They are literally a thing that we purchase to use. That's it. Yep. Discord is nothing more than a place for us to talk. What we talk about is up to us. We, the users, define that. I just want to be really clear about that. Now, in regards to the information you provide when you sign up for a website, that's every website, and that is your own personal decision. That's everyone's personal decision. I'm not going to be positive or negative about how people think or do what they want with providing their personal information on the internet. That is 100% up to them. I understand it. But all that being said, Discord, vBulletin, every one of these platforms, all they are is they're a platform for us to talk on. Yep. So I just want to be really clear, because there's been some discussion about that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I'll take it to the other side of this. That's really important to me personally, because it's going to be really important to the game. eventually, and that's the YouTube, Facebook side of this. YouTube and Facebook provide what eventually will give me the opportunity to do more lives, so that I can do live games, or I can do live AMAs, or whatever they are. Like, so please, everybody, subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Facebook. The Facebook's also really important because it allows us to build lookalike audiences. So when we're ready to start deploying paid advertising, we can do it based on the demographics of us as owners. And the more people we have there, the smarter the Facebook algorithm is to present these ads to people that will enjoy CSFBL, will enjoy this community, and it'll help us grow. Matter of fact, that may be the number one thing, because you know, I haven't said this publicly, but really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use the Q4 to get everything settled, get the triage done, get all the main players in the right places. And then at the beginning of the year, I mean, I'm hitting the gas. And I want to grow the community, because if we grow the community, it gives us bigger and more opportunity to grow the game, and vice versa. And they just keep growing each other. And so it's really important that if you care about the game, you could help us just by a simple like on Facebook, a simple subscribe on YouTube. Just give Discord a shot, because I'm growing to love it too, because I think there are ways it stacks information that's really compelling that the forums can't do. And finally, the forums, I fucking love them. I always will. My heart's there. And so, like, they all serve their purpose, but collectively use them how you wish. But just know that in the aggregate, like, that's how we're going to build this thing.
Yeah. And, you know, it's, if you don't want to use one aspect of it, don't use it.
It's
I mean,
fine.
no one is forcing, you know, we're always, I can't say always, you know, absolutes are generally wrong. I don't foresee us personally, and I know Clone thinks the same way on this one. I don't foresee us ever with a spot where we don't have a centralized forum of some sort. You know, when we communicate, when you're communicating change logs and things like that of why are we making changes this month, you kind of need an environment like that where you have that rolling history, you know. And right now we can go look back and what did Brian change in August of 2007? And if he did, there's a post made and we can go find it and we can go read it and we can go, oh yeah, that's what it was. That's when that change was made. And that has value. And frankly, there's tons of history on our forums, as we both have, you know, said and harped on. So yeah, I wasn't meaning to sidetrack, but I do want to say, guys, give Discord a shot. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I get it. I mean, it's not for everybody. And I know we have users that are everywhere from teenagers to, you know, grandparents and in between, and it's not going to all be for everybody. Find what works for you. We want feedback. We want ideas. We don't know everything, you know, by any means. And the more people, as you said, get the aces in the places, the people that are good at what they do in the right roles, we can, you know, the way you talked about the end of this year makes a lot of sense, because it's frankly what we need to do. And then we can start making bigger changes. But those smaller little ones, and making sure people are in the right roles and giving ideas, because there are things that are not thought about that get suggested. Like I said, I was resistant to Discord a few years ago, and now I'm fully around to see it does have some really cool potential.
It does,
but I don't want to see it replace the forums either. You know, I'm the same way. So all those people, if those, you know, the people concerned about the forums disappearing, they're not going anywhere unless they get rid of me, because I'm going to sit there and fight them on that one.
Yeah, I'll sit on top of the forums too. Yeah, I think, you know, sorry, now we're still talking about that, but Discord, the forums have really good components for league specific stuff as well. But absolutely. Discord has some really great ways to connect the game as a whole. And once, you know, we go from 500 daily users to 10,000 daily users, Discord becomes a really compelling place to meet people, to understand and learn the game better. You know, building out the one thing I didn't mention, it's not really a social area, but building out or building out a community of people that can help with the wiki is going to be really crucial too, because as a
Absolutely.
repository for how you play the game and all of those things, a wiki is just a beautiful tool. So I'm hoping that we get more use
You
out
know,
of that.
and you just made me think of it, and so I'm going to interrupt you before I
Yeah,
forget
please.
it. Sorry.
Please.
I there needs to be, and I'll be the first to say I don't remember all the users who were involved, so I can't remember the specific names. I was very busy with things in my life at the time. I can remember, but the individuals that helped with our current how to play help section, where they rewrote it all as a wiki at that time, which was done 4 to 5 years ago,
Yeah, I think it was
probably about
2017.
2017ish is when it was
Yep.
done pretty heavy. Those guys they need a huge thank you. All the individuals that contributed to that, if any of them see this, because
There was nothing before that.
that is the by far the best collection of information we have ever had that was put together to not only share, here's the information how to play the game, but here is knowledge from, it's capturing the tribal knowledge that was in all the veterans' head and putting it down on paper. Was every little strategy shared? No, but there are some great tips and great how-tos in there. And those guys all did it, volunteered their time. Not a single person got paid a dime. Those guys all deserve shout outs. And when I mention those individuals at the same time, I want to just briefly, before I forget, the 3 guys that helped me with the community, G Sparks, Balmers, and Luke, specifically, they do thankless jobs as well. Be nice to them. Don't be jackasses to them. Those guys just volunteer their time to help keep the place up for us. So I just want to mention that real quick. But like I said, those the ones that help with the help section, thank you to all of you. That site, that's part of the site, even for those of you that if you've been around a long time, if you've never visited it, go read it. There's some good stuff captured in there. Those of you that don't even know what I'm talking about, at the top of the forums, there's a how to play. On the top of the game, there's a how to play. Go visit it. There's some good info there. So anyways,
yeah.
I'm off that soapbox.
Yeah. No, that's great. I'm glad you shouted them out too, because all 3 of those guys, I hope will come on the podcast at some point too. I'd love to talk to them all. I don't really know where the podcast is going to go. I've been telling people I'm going to let it grow organically. Right now, I'm just trying to get everybody some time with the community to do a one-on-one, so that we can start to endear some trust, put a name to some or put a face to some names and things like that. Long term, I think I'm going to build out a show a little bit more like format driven and make it a little bit more entertaining. But right now, I think it's really important that people just hear from folks.
So, not that you asked, but just
I am actually.
No,
that's where
I mean, no, so the name. My first name, I'll just say my first name's Isaac for anyone who cares. But secondly,
I thought you were going to start ranting about the Run Home podcast.
No. Hey, like I said, when I actually thought about the name of the podcast in the aspect of it's my second home, it kind of diffused me. You got me.
Good,
I mean, that one, when I started looking at it like that, I kind of went, well, shit, that's true. So screen name though.
But
my screen
Isaac,
name,
yes.
No, yeah, Isaac's the first name. My screen name, there is no pronunciation. Pronounce it however the hell you want, guys. Makila. I don't care. Secondly, it means nothing. I made it up when I was in high school. It literally means nothing. I use it. It's been my screen name since the late 90s. If you run into someone with that screen name on a website, chances are it's me.
Is that true? I think it was probably your porn name or something.
That's
like John
a little early
Makila
for that one, but no, because I can even tell you I was in freaking biology class in high school when I created it for a website.
Makila.
I mean,
do you remember
where I was
when God, I was so proud of this one during the original Threads of Time. I used to do music intros, and I did Makila to the Cop Killer.
Yes.
That was my only hard rock song I did.
I do remember that. The music intros were fun.
Yeah, there was so much work, and I'm so not talented that they ended up so bad. They ended up good somehow. Like they were just terrible.
But it's the, broken clock, right? Twice a week thing. They kind of
Yeah.
every once in a while it just works.
I mean, like, I'm a bad singer. I'm a
Twice a day.
bad audio
Twice a day.
engineer. Like, the whole thing was a mess. Like, some of them had the original singer. Some of them, it was terrible. It was terrible.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. But yeah, no, it's quickly as everyone's talked about the screen names. Yeah, I think your capital Z is what threw everybody off on the end, I think, for a long time.
Yeah.
At the end of your name, just to add, as that has been discussed to, ad nauseum at this
Now
point.
people are going to know it because I'm going to start wearing Zubaz every show. I got a couple more pair on order. So I got my
awesome.
Brewers one. Yep.
No, that's great. But it's we're trying to refocus before I completely go off on like side tangents. It's the influx of energy, the influx of individuals that I've seen all of a sudden screen names show up on
I've
the
seen
forums.
A couple pop up too that
I
I
haven't seen in
years.
years. Now I know there's been a couple lurking that have been around and they're now posting a bit more, but I love seeing this influx again, and so whatever, anyone that watches this, any thoughts, any feedback, any advice, man, share your experiences with us.
One thing we haven't used yet
absolutely.
that we're kind of holding in the back pocket, I think, maybe wait for the draft tool to come out or something, but we haven't used the email list. We haven't sent out an announcement there because we all agreed that we wanted to make a couple of changes. So when people come back, they're like, oh, that's better.
Absolutely. You got to have something to show them. Like we were saying, I think a lot of people have done okay, I've heard this, show me you're going to do something different. And the draft side of it is that's a big one for me. That we've talked for a long time about that when kicking around kind of number one ideas for what I would have liked to have seen with CSFBL. Integrating that draft into the game is significant to me. It comes back to, and I know I have told you this for me, and I think you discussed this a little bit with someone recently, but what's one of the funnest things of fantasy sports? What is, to me, the funnest thing of fantasy sports is the draft.
The draft. Yeah. The draft.
It's the draft. I mean, and now that's one of the cool things, like with a Discord or something like that too, is also the ability to do it easy live. Yes. Can we all get into a chat room right now and use some messaging service and have a truly live draft? Absolutely. Shout out to the old league, Pacific Coast League, if anyone remembers.
Yeah, they used to do that.
PCL did that. Ravens Jeff was the user who ran that league. He was Ravens Jeff. He built a website that integrated a chat system, and they would meet every system and have their live draft on there. And then they would obviously just wait for the draft to sim to get their players. But you can do that with other platforms. You don't have to reinvent the wheel like you were talking earlier. And I agree with you. We're not going to go out and build some messaging system that's better than what these billion-dollar companies have built. I mean, let's just be realistic here. The resources they have are substantial. I mean, they, these are the reason they're billion-dollar companies. So, but the draft is so fun. There's community aspect of it. There's the optimism side of it. We all want star players. I mean, no one wants to get a bunch of crud on their team. You want, the draft is what's fun. So let's make that as easy and as functional as possible within the game. Let's get that off the users. To me, that's always been just such a big thing. And I'm so glad that is actually coming to fruition. And then, a lot of the other big changes down the road, hopefully after that, we give, like I said, I like the term flavor to leagues, give leagues their ability to have their own flavor, be their own thing. We have a lot of great users with some really cool ideas. I mean,
and great talents. There is some really talented people out there.
That's what I say. We have there's another resource that doesn't, I guess, necessarily get mentioned or thought about. And that's the community in regards to, we got some guys that know what they're doing out there, with really cool ideas.
Yep. I agree. I also want to thank everybody publicly that took the time to do that survey.
Absolutely.
That didn't fall on deaf ears. In fact, I got it right behind this computer right now, and we're going to start to disseminate or really prioritize that list and start working off that directly, because there was a lot of, as you could imagine, there was a lot of overriding themes. A lot of people said a lot of the same things, but also there was a lot of people that volunteered to help. And I was like, that's what's really cool about the community is it's easier to have an idea than a solution. And a lot of people are providing solutions and be willing to help. And I thought that was incredible testament to the people out there. So thank you all for giving your time.
No, absolutely. And as some, that feedback, that part of the feedback loop is so important. And it's what I was talking about a little bit ago about, the perfect world. And it's that seamless communication from the end user back up to the people actually working on the game and everywhere in between. And part of that is we haven't been great about asking for feedback. It has
at all,
not necessarily gone anywhere when we got it.
Yep.
So the ones that have actually spent and taken the time to provide feedback, absolutely, thank you. Because I know it is very easy to just say, why does it matter? It's never been listened to. It doesn't matter.
This time it's definitely going to matter.
It's being looked at. I know Clone gets a thank you for getting to sort through those. But it's being listened to. We totally and completely appreciate getting that information back, and we will act upon it. And is every idea probably going to happen? No, let's be realistic, but there are definitely some cool ideas. And one of the, like I said, this community that we have, there's kind of a similar trend. We're all here playing a text-based baseball game that's not real, and it's a fantasy fake baseball game, as we point out. One of the personality traits a lot of us have is most of us know a little bit about computers, or we know a little bit about baseball. Yeah. So there's some people that have skills that can benefit this group.
Yep. You're right on all sides. There's data analysis people. There's some people that know how to code things. There's some people that know PHP or whatever it is. But there's
people that understand even like I said, even the people that aren't necessarily, they know nothing about computers or websites, but they understand sabermetrics and they understand the advanced stats in baseball way better than someone like myself does. I won't act to be the smartest guy in the room. And I have interacted with new and old users on CSFBL who amaze me with how much they actually know and dissect the stats side of baseball. When we were kids, it was the counting stats. We looked at home runs, we looked at RBIs, we looked at the averages, and that was kind of what we based everything off.
Yep.
There's a lot more than that. And Brian has always been awesome about saving data.
That's right.
It's all there.
There's the database is unbelievably big and robust. And that's why we were able to go in and then all of a sudden add the histories to historical player cards. Oh man, amazing for somebody like me that like you in Earth Baseball. I'm the only owner of some Prairie Cardinals in TCL. So to be able to go back and look at my creation guys' historical player cards, it's just incredible. So
I think I know when the history came out on player cards, all of us, we poured so much time looking over the history of our players.
Yeah, I lost a day.
Oh, easily. Every one of us did. And that was when we started noticing. I do remember if you Jokes pitcher, Denton True. That was when we noticed the ratings go up and down as he aged. Remember that? And we all kind of went, wait a second, we've never noticed that before.
Yep.
And everyone started paying more attention to it. Anyways, it was pretty awesome when all that showed up.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's so fast, and you learn a lot about the game, being able to see that and being able to see the net effects of development and drills or the lack thereof, and now I'm gonna say, it feels like I feel like I've learned something about which ratings are more affected by development and drills, and you start learning things like that. But one thing I want to get out there for sure, without a doubt, I have zero insider knowledge because I'm not a computer guy. I actually refused admin access, so I have not seen the database personally. So in case anybody's wondering, any victories I have are still my own and still totally based on luck. So, so wait, now we're running short on time, and so
Yeah, I know you are.
I do want to bring up one thing real quick, because
Okay.
long term, and when I say long term, I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that I absolutely love blockchain and cryptocurrency, because I know that it's going to take over everything from the stock market to insurance to the way we vote, the way we live. And some people see it coming, some people don't, but it's irrelevant. It's all coming. And so I've been thinking, like, how do we incorporate blockchain eventually into the game, right? Like whether it be community tokens, or do we put the Sims on the blockchain? I have lots of big ideas. I'm not even sure all of them are feasible. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that one I'm a little curious about, but
yeah. So I'll turn it over to you as somebody that actually mines Ethereum. What you tell me? How should we incorporate blockchain into the game, if at all?
I'm still trying to even work through the concept of a sim on a blockchain.
Well, so here's what I'm thinking about with the Sims, right?
It's like, so you have like an instantaneous sim.
Yeah, and it becomes immutable, verifiable, and transparent, right? So that if you and somebody else were ever like betting each other on it, there's no argument, there's no rollback. It's right there, it's locked in. It happened exactly the way we said it did. Blockchain.
Okay. Yes, in that you're not wrong. Necessary or not doable right now, I question.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you and I can do that right now, and I'm pretty sure it's been done.
For sure.
But no, it's yeah. So token, we're gonna make a CSFBL coin. We're just gonna flat out make a coin.
Let's do it.
We're gonna just join all the the teen YouTubers, and I'll date myself and be the old guy and join the teeny boppers now. And I can't believe I just said that. Holy crap. But we're just going to make a CSFBL coin. We'll put it on the Ethereum blockchain. I can actually help contribute to the mining of it.
Decision made.
No, that's awesome.
Where do you see the opportunities? So like community tokens, not all that absurd, right?
No,
like,
I actually, so yeah, realistically, an NFT seems very feasible. I would say, frankly, need to grow the younger base for it to have interest, because
I was even thinking you could NFT a player, right? Like you could NFT a famous player, and then if and when we can use players in alternate leagues or bring them back, you could even shard the player so he could be in multiple leagues. You could own him and resell the guy.
There is actually, you could, in my opinion, there's actually some potential value with tokens. Now, like I said, I'm still really hung up on the sim on the blockchain thing, because that is just one of the craziest. Okay. I mean, so tokens totally doable, because you have, so there's actually something here. There's, like you were just saying, you could have that player that you wanted to. The game could have, CSFBL could have anniversary type tokens, 25 years after the first sim. We've made
10 years after your first sim.
Or yours, exactly. Or the league you're in.
Or the team you own.
Exactly. So there actually is, I think there's some cool
or your World Series, right? Like there's no reason that we can't gamify that in such a way that it becomes like the old Boy Scout like badges of honor. Like we should do stuff like that. That's cool.
Yeah, and there's that iLog you see on your franchise page. You go in and all of a sudden all that stuff's there that you own, and you actually own it.
That's right. And you literally own it.
Yeah, it's not CSFBL's anymore. It's so, because there would be a transaction, and I'm on board. We're gonna make this happen. Done. Sorry, everybody else who's not interested. We're doing it.
Again, we're not talking short term. Don't expect this soon. But I do think long term,
just a month from now,
it will be amazing if we can do it, and we'll figure something out. Okay, so want to wrap it up with any words of wisdom or anything you want to make sure that you get out to the community?
I thank everybody for being around as long as they have, whether they're new, whether they've been here 20 years. This community is awesome. It's meant a lot to me personally. We've got a lot of good energy coming in. We've got resources. I'm absolutely pleased with the people that are in the places they're in. Brian's very good at what he does. Jason, Clone, I've known a long time as well. They're good at what they do. I think we got people in the right places. Matthias staying, Dave staying really helps a lot as well. So but I do want to thank, as much as we talk about these individuals who have came in at the top to help with the organizational level on the way down. It's nothing without our game. It's nothing without our user base.
Right.
And I absolutely thank you guys for sticking with us. As long as you have those of you that roll your eyes, I understand it. I've rolled my eyes many times at this game as well. But thank you for sticking it out. I think there's going to be really cool things that come out of this. I personally am really excited. Thank you, everybody that's helped. Thank you, all the users that have stayed here. I truly think there are better things coming. And I'm excited to be able to be part of it. And let us hear back. Let us know your thoughts. Are we going to be able to react to everything instantaneously? No, but I generally want to hear back from you guys. So reach out to myself always. I think most people know on the forums that they're free to do that. I'm always available. I may not get back to you immediately, but I will always get back to you. Clone is very active now and trying to become more in that role as well. But he and I will always be available. Like I said, anyone needs anything, reach out to me. I'll try to help you. I'll bug this guy. If not, I've known him personally a very long time now. So he gets snarky comments from me if I don't like what he's doing. But really, thank you, everybody. I'm really glad to see where we're headed from here.
Yeah, well said. I can't say it any better than that. And to your points, everybody, nothing falls on deaf ears. There's now a process for all feedback, so it does become part of the conversation. Mac, again, thank you for everything you've done for the community, everything you're doing for the community, everything you're going to do for the community. Means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to everybody in this game. So thank you. And to all of you, thank you all very much. I love you all. Until next time, we are out of here.